Great. So good evening. I guess we have people, from other country. So it's a good afternoon or probably a good morning to all of you. And thank you all for, joining the session on getting yourself certified on Automation Pro 1. This is the very first series that we're doing in the virtual meetup. Of course, people who have been following the Workato community for a very long time. We have done a lot of physical meetups in multiple parts of the cities in India. And we have also started up with the virtual session. But in the series of virtual sessions, this is the very first series, which is the third prep series, right? So as you know, we have the Pro 1 certification, Pro 2 certifications, and other certifications in the Workato directory. And to start with, Pro 1 is the very first certification that any developer or any citizen developer should target. And this session is purely based on that, where we have a technical trainer with us, so she'll help us all to make sure that we get certified during the end of the session, right? So let's go ahead. Let me speak about few things, and then I'll hand it over to the speaker for the session. So as I said, you will go ahead and earn your certifications, in this 2 hours of session that we have. So practically the trainer will walk you across with, the content of the Pro 1 certification. We'll also do hands-on exercise. A prerequisite for that has already been sent to you, via the Zoom link and the systematic wherever you would have registered. So make sure you have all the prerequisite ready, because the instructor will walk you through the entire process of building the recipe. And post the recipe and all the technical content, we will give you some time to go ahead and take up the certifications. So the certification is on the website. We will provide you the link and everything. You can go ahead. Is an MCQ quiz. It's an open book test, so do not worry. And if in case you don't clear it in the first attempt, we do have the second attempt made available, where you can attempt again and clear the certifications. Now, let's go ahead. Let's, as I said, let's do some housekeeping rule, so that we have a fair, understanding of what things has to be done in these 2 hours, so that the trainer gets its parts to be done, without the interruption. As I said, there are a few prerequisites which were already sent across to you, which is go ahead and sign up on the Workato app so that you can start using the tool, and create an account on Salesforce, and get yourself a Google Sheet. So that was the three main requirement. The entire session would be 2 hours. And of course, as I said earlier, we would provide the recording. So the recording will be uploaded in the systematic portal in the event page itself. On the bottom, I'll just add a comment where I'll share the entire recording for you. I do understand there would be a lot of questions, since it's the first, technical session that you're walking across in Workato. Do make sure that you use the chat window often. Do not, I'll say, do not disturb the trainer in between, so that you don't break the flow. If you have any questions which is very important, we'll again make sure that at the end of the session you can directly chat with the speaker with us, and we'll answer it. But in between, if you have any questions, please feel to put it in the chat, and at the end of the session we'll answer all the questions that you guys want to get addressed. Now, let me introduce to you the instructor. So Mary Gabriel, she is the instructor. She is based out of Philippines, and she leads the education program manager. And it's a very strange time for Mary, guys. To understand that as she sits out from Philippines, it's almost 8 o'clock, 9:30, 9 o'clock her time. So it's an effort that Mary has taken forward to support the India community. And let's make sure that we utilize all the skills that Mary has and get ourselves certified, in the Pro 1 session. So everyone, hi Mary.
Hi, Niaz. Thank you
Hi.
for that.
Right. Cool. So let me first quickly go ahead and spend few more times to understand, to let you know what the systematic platform is. Before that, let me go ahead and introduce myself. So my name is Niaz, and I lead two programs in Workato, especially for the India region. The developer community program is why we all are here, because this initiative is from the developer community program. Apart from the developer community program, I also lead the education partner program here. So what we do in terms of the education partner program is we make sure we have a partnership with few good colleges in India. To name a few, currently we are in partnership with VIT, Amity, and few other universities in India. And we make sure that the students in the third year or fourth year or second year, we teach them Workato when they are currently, studying in their semesters, right? So it's an effort that we all are putting towards the education so that not only us, but the future workforce are also ready with the automation skills that currently the industry is demanding for, right? Now, in terms of the developer community program, we have the systematic community. So the entire community efforts happens through the systematic community itself, right? So make sure you go to the systematic community and register yourself on the community. The community is a very diverse tool. Of course, we need the community to network, learn, and grow. And that can be easily done on the systematic platform within the Workato community that we have created over there. So there's a lot of programs that we are going to launch, in the coming years. So we would launch the user group program where we'll make a leader as a user group. Then we're also planning to launch a mentorship program. And down the lane, we have the MVP program for Workato over here. This is how the systematic page is built upon. So when you go and work with the systematic platform, you will see a lounge area. It's not the lounge that we usually go across in the evening, but it's a lounge separately, connected for the Workato developers itself. So we have the news and announcement, and the very important thing that I believe we have kept it here is the jobs board over here, right? So any partners or customers who is associated with Workato, if they have a developer requirement or any role in per se with the Workato ecosystem, they post it in the jobs board, and you guys can go ahead and apply from there, right? And of course, we have the pro sections over here, where if you have difficulties or if you want to understand or you're stuck somewhere, while you're developing a project, you can go ahead, post your questions, depending upon the categories we have set, and we'll make sure that the community people present in the systematic platform will answer the questions that you have. It's a gamified platform. So the efforts that you put towards the community, you'll start getting batches to it, right? So you'll see a lot of batches with the name sous chef, head chef, deputy chef, executive chef. So these all batches comes with a rank, and this rank is decided upon the amount of efforts that you put towards the community, right? So make sure you contribute more towards the community, and automatically your batch rank will keep on increasing and you will be highlighted on the page over here, right? So that's all probably from my side, and I'll hand it over to you, Mary, and Mary will lead the entire the certification the Pro 1 session, and make sure that you be with her, and she will make sure that we'll get all of you certified on the Pro 1 session over here. That's
Right.
it from my side. Thank you, Mary, and I'll
Thanks,
hand it over to you.
Niaz. Thank you. So, again, guys, welcome to Automation Pro 1 training. In today's agenda, we will get you certified as Pro 1. So, for today, you can call me Mary, Mary. And basically, I've been with Workato for 5 years already. And for the Pro 1, Pro 2, all of these instructor led training, we have executed this in different regions in US, in Singapore, in Australia, in Korea, in Taiwan, all of these we are all around the globe, and it's fun to see it expanding also in India. So this will be our pilot run, and hopefully we'll have this in a consistent monthly basis. Anyway, in today's agenda, we will first have a quick recap on what is Workato. For those not yet familiar with Workato, this will help you understand a high level of what Workato can do. Next, we'll start with the Automation Pro 1 topics, from navigating your Workato accounts to getting you familiarized with the Workato interface and its capabilities. So this means we'll go in the user interface, look around, look at the features that Workato has to offer, and basically build our recipes later on. Next, we'll understand how a recipe works, and we'll go through a recipe overview. So this includes diving into connections, triggers and actions, and data pills and mappings that essentially make up a recipe. Right. Next, we'll test and run the recipes that you have created. And lastly, you'll see it will create jobs and job reports. Okay. And the fun part, we do have a live Q&A session at the end. So get your questions ready. Right. So our goal for today is to have everyone Workato certified. Once you have completed training with me, you can take the Automation Pro 1 exam, which consists of 15 multiple choice questions. So answering those will have you Workato certified for Automation Pro 1. Right. So again, like Nia said, don't worry about it. The questions are easy and it's an open book examination. And you will learn all of that in our training for today. Okay, so a side note, throughout this webinar, we will be asking some micro quizzes, just 2 or 3 questions, just to make this session interactive. So if you see like a knowledge check pop up in your screen, do provide your answers in the Zoom chat just to make it interesting, okay? And to make it interactive. So let's see, is everybody ready? Let's practice typing yes in the Zoom chat, and I'll know that you guys are ready to start our training. Perfect. Okay. Very good. You guys are fast. You have fast hands. Okay. Okay, so the first topic is what is Workato, right? Very interesting. So if you do not know, Workato is derived from 2 words. It is work automation. So work automation, we combined it together and we have Workato, right? So work automation. So for those of you hearing Workato for the first time and is not yet familiar with Workato, Workato is essentially an enterprise grade automation platform. Big words. But don't worry, basically Workato is for all personas, not just IT. Anybody can come in if you're in HR, in operations, in finance, all the different departments. You can come in Workato and build your automations without having any coding experience required. Okay. So Workato enables both businesses in IT teams, in finance, in operations, and even in HR to integrate their applications and automate business workflows without compromising security and governance. Again, big words. What does this mean? Right. So an example would be, let's say you have an onboarding process, right? An end-to-end onboarding process. You are trying to hire a person into your organization. So this means you have multiple steps to complete. Let's say you have to log them in into Bamboo HR. You have to provision some IT assets, right, in Jira or in ServiceNow. You even have to order equipment. You have to provision access to them, even send them a welcome packet. So imagine all of the applications, all the different applications. Imagine the time being consumed switching all of these applications. It's tedious, right? There's many manual steps. And lastly, it's error prone. So with Workato, it allows users to automate business processes like this in a very visual way without needing a developer skill set. So this is what we refer to as low code, no code. So we are able to get all of those different applications, automatically create your business workflow or use case and make it more automatic or automatic, where you don't have to switch between all of these applications and build it in a simple and organized automation without no code necessary. Okay. So with Workato, it allows users to automate um, business process. At the same time, it allows power users to have these tools that you see in the screen, which basically handles the needs of the enterprise by having different features such as ETL, ELT. Basically, this means involving bulk transfers of data. Could be thousands of records or millions of records you're syncing. Workato can do that. If you want to have an API management where you can expose your integration to external parties or external apps if required, Workato can also do that. Workato can also create workflow automations. And of course, Workato has conversational bots. So this conversational bots, you're able to build and deploy interactive work bots in MS Teams, in Facebook Workplace, even in Slack, right? So all of this, it's available in Workato. You do not need to have an IT background to actually use Workato. So that's the good part. Okay, so Workato is essentially a serverless platform for all our users. So the only thing you would need to do is to log into Workato from a browser and get your automation running in real time. So this means you don't need to worry about provisioning server resources to support your objectives. Workato grows with you as your needs grow. Okay, so that is a short introduction of Workato as an enterprise automation platform. Don't worry if this still doesn't make sense to you. You will understand Workato features and its capabilities as we go through our training today. Okay, so in this section, we will quickly examine how you are able to access your Workato account. So there are two ways to log into Workato. So one is logging into the Workato website, as you see on the left, direct URL. And the other one is logging into Workato via SSO, or what we call single sign-on. So SSO is usually launched in your company's portal. So for example, if your organization is using Microsoft My Apps, then you would see Workato there and just click on it. However, because most of you are logging into Workato for the first time, we will be logging in via the browser or via the direct URL. Okay. So next is what we call Workato environments. Okay. So just take note before you're curious. This training, I'm going to be talking about topics and then we'll go to the Workato platform and then do hands-on activity. Then I'm going to talk about other topics and then go back to the Workato platform. Okay, so more of like I teach you, we'll do this, and then I'll teach you again, and then we'll do the hands-on in Workato. Okay, so again, for Workato environments. So in a traditional software development lifecycle, you would have different environments such as development instance, testing instance, and production workspace, right? Or ops team. If you're not from the IT background, it's okay. Basically, all of these means we have different workspaces for the different team or integration that will be building our recipes. So let's say you are developing your recipes, then it would be under the development workspace. If later on you're already good with that, you have the QA team to check your recipes. And then after that, you have your production workspace where all of your instances are connected to your production environments. I'll also show you where this is in your Workato account. So this is just a good to know why it is there. Okay, so each Workato user may be given access to multiple environments and workspaces. Okay, right. So the fun part is we'll now dive into the Workato user interface. So I'm just gonna switch my slide and go to my Workato account, right? So once you've logged in and signed up, this is what you will be seeing, right? With the exception of my projects here. So for you, if you've just signed up, it's a clean slate. There's no folders, there's no projects, there's no recipes. And it's okay because we will be building recipes from scratch in today's session. Okay. So just to help you navigate, this is our recipe or this is our Workato account homepage, right? This is the homepage every time you log in. This is what you will be seeing. So first, on the top, under assets, this is our, how do you say it? This assets will be here forever. You are not able to delete these recipes, active, recently stopped. These assets cannot be renamed. It cannot be changed in order, etc. This will stay as is. Okay. The only thing that will be modified is the recipes inside these, recipes, connections, pages, and trash. Okay. So these assets will be there forever. you're unable to delete them. If you scroll down under projects, here is, I'm thinking right now, I guess you only have home assets, but you don't have all of the projects here. So under these projects, you are able to customize your own projects inside your Workato account. This is for, recipe organization purposes, right? So all of these projects, all of these folders. So the first task that I want you to do is we'll be creating a project. So click on the plus sign that you see here, right? Under project, there's a plus sign. Click on it, and it will ask you a project name. If this is not the same as what you're seeing, that's okay. I just have something else enabled, but it would be the same. It would ask you for the project name. So for our project name, let's call this Automation Pro Training. Okay, and let's click Create Project. Right. So once you've selected Create Project, you would see it here, Automation Pro Training. So now you have your own project inside your Workato account. The next thing is, let's create a folder inside the project. Okay, so under your project, there's a plus sign again. Click on the Create folder. Yeah, click on the Create folder and type in Pro 1. Right, and click on Create folder. Right. So now I've created a Pro 1 folder. Later on, when you take your Pro 2, you can create your own folder for Pro 2 or for Pro 3. So you can remember that these recipes were from your Pro 1 training and the other recipes were from your Pro 2 training. Okay. So I do see a question. I'm going to leave it first and I'm just going to proceed because we do have like an hour and 30 minutes, but I will get back to that. Okay. So that is for your project, and now you have your folder. So there is no limit to the number of folders you can create. There's no limit to the number of projects you can create. Basically, depending on what you are trying to achieve, you can create as many as you want. Okay, so that is it for projects and for folders. Okay, so the next part is going to the tools and features that Workato has in your Workato account. If you see this dark toolbar here, you can hover to it and it will expand. So all of this here, we'll go through it one by one. So for projects, this is where you are when you go to your Workato homepage, right? All of your recipes, your projects, your folders. If you hover again, you would see the dashboard and click on the dashboard. So for your dashboard, this helps you see a 360 view of your Workato account. So what does that mean? It helps you see, how many recipes are running currently, how many successful jobs it has, how many failed jobs. And basically this graph here will be populated with that information. Right. If you scroll down here, it will show you all the recipes that has been active for that said period, and you're able to see it all in more detail. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change my last 7 days so that you can see information. For you, because you have a new account, you won't be able to see any information, but we'll have information on that later on. All right. So this is what it would look like if there are now recipes. You would have your recipe here, your graph here, and the connections connected to the last 7 days. So that is on the right side. Okay. So again, dashboard helps you give a 360 view of your Workato account. It's a very easy visual for you to see if everything is working correctly, if there is any recipes that you need to fix, etc. Okay. Next, let's go to community library. Okay. So community library, this is where you're able to see public community recipes, right? So what do I mean by that? Basically, community library, you're able to clone recipes inside your Workato account. So for this example, you would just need to think of what applications you will be using or what applications you are currently using. Let's say I'm currently using Salesforce. Just need to search for that or click on the icon. And our community library will provide you with recipes that you can clone inside your Workato account. So all of these are recipes, and basically what you are seeing is the chosen application plus the other application that will be used alongside your Salesforce or chosen application. So it would be Salesforce and NetSuite, Salesforce and Dropbox, Salesforce and Slack. Okay. So if you would want to copy a recipe that you think is close to what you're currently doing, just click on the banner, right? Click on the banner, click on use this recipe, save it in your folder. I'm just going to save it there. And you will have a copy of this recipe inside your Workato account already. Okay. Don't worry, you are not editing the original copy. Basically, this copy is for you. You're able to modify the recipe, you're able to add, you're able to remove steps, etc. Okay, so that is one way of creating a recipe by going to the community library. The other way is creating the recipe from scratch. So the creating recipe from scratch, this is what we'll be doing in today's training. Okay. Right. So that is it for community library, like public recipe library that you can clone inside your own Workato account. Okay. And we do have thousands of connections already. So, feel free to browse through our application. Right. So the next section here in the tools is API platform. So you might be wondering, I do not see API platform in my account. You do not see an API platform because this is an add-on feature, okay? Because you have signed up for a trial account, API platform does not go along with it, okay? So API platform is an advanced topic that is not covered in today's session. But for a brief summary, using the API platform, you can turn API recipes into endpoints and make it easy for others to consume data without needing access to your Workato account. Okay. We also have a separate course in our Automation Institute site for API platform. Again, it's an advanced topic. I won't be covering that in our session today. Right. Next is tools. So our tools, you would see plenty of tools here. And basically here, tools help perform four main functions. So the four main functions that it does is to build recipes, connect applications, collaborate recipes, and manage recipes. So all of these tools, they're free to use. You can use it in your recipe. I won't be diving into each one because it might take us 3 hours to complete this training. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And if you see something that you are interested in, just click on Discover More Tools. And you're able to go to our documentation page as well here and read more about it. Okay. Okay. So the other feature that we have inside your Workato account is if you hover to your name here and click on it, earlier I was mentioning about workspaces, right? So here we do have what we call workspaces. Basically, this is a separate workspace from your account. If you have been invited to a workspace, then you're able to see it here. Okay. For example, I am part of sorry. I am part of the Golden Demos team. If I go there, this workspace has other collaborators in it. Okay, so it's not just me in this account, it would be other people. So here you would see there's 11 other people collaborating in the said recipe. So that is what you can do with a workspace, right? You all have other collaborators helping build recipes. So that is part of the workspace. The other one that I was mentioning is environments. So if I scroll up here, you would see that inside a workspace, you can have different environments as well. So those environments that I was mentioning earlier, it was the development, QA, and production, right? So here, you're able to switch different environments as well, which is pretty cool, right? Because you're able to see what's currently happening and etc. Okay, so same, I'm gonna go back to my account because I would want to build recipes there. Okay, right. So that's a good question. I'm also gonna leave that at the end because that's a good topic. Okay, so the next part that I would want to show you is the recipe editor. So why is it important, the recipe editor? Because you'll be spending 90% of your time there. Okay, so how to go through the recipe editor? You can click on your project, Automation Pro Trading. We'll click on the green button on the side here, create, and click on recipe, right? We're not going to be building recipe. We're just going to show you how to navigate in that recipe editor. So if you are here setting up your recipe, no need to set up anything for the meantime. Just click on start building. Okay. So when you click start building, it will take you to the recipe editor. Okay. So this recipe editor, again, you will be spending 90 or maybe 95 or maybe 92, but more, more, more exposure in recipe editor than the other features that you'll be using. Okay, so why is that? So recipe editor is basically where you'll be creating and building your recipes. So this is where all your business logic will come into place. This is where we'll be modifying your recipe. This is where we'll be building your recipe. Okay, so inside this recipe editor, you'll see that it is split into two parts. You have the left and you have the right. For this left side, this is what we call the layout panel. Okay, so this layout panel basically this is where you'll be thinking of the skeleton of your recipe, like if it's um, yeah, basically the skeleton. On your right side, this is where you'll be configuring each detail of your steps in your recipe. If you happen to click in the layout panel, you'll notice that the right side minimizes. If you want to get it back, just click on any step and it will maximize again. Okay, so again, this is the layout panel and the right side is the step configuration panel. So this is where each information will be configured in the step configuration panel. Okay, so this is the recipe editor. Then of course you have your save, you have your test, and you have your exit buttons on the right. So if you want to exit the recipe editor, just click on the exit button. And now you're back to your recipe homepage, right? So this is not the Workato homepage. This is the recipe homepage. And you are not able to edit your recipe unless you go back to the recipe editor. So to go back to your recipe editor, you just have to click on the edit button here and it will take you back. Okay. So you might be wondering later, hey, I'm not able to edit my recipe. Just keep in mind, you have to be in the recipe editor to change any configurations. Okay, that's also a good question. I see it. And the answer is no. Yeah. And I'll show you why later. Okay. Right. So that is it for the recipe editor. We do have the recipe overview. So if you keep hearing me say recipe, but you don't know what it is yet, that's okay. We have a deep dive on what is a recipe. All right. So that is the user interface of Workato. I guess very, for me, it is very friendly. So before we jump into what is a recipe, this is one of the knowledge checks that I was mentioning earlier. So I'm gonna ask you very quickly, how many recipes can you clone from the community library? So drop your answers in the, oh, did you guys take this course before? Right. Great job. Yeah, I think you guys took Pro 1 already. Okay. So the correct answer is infinite or unlimited. There is no limit to cloning from the community library. So if you see, Ed got the first correct answer. And for this, Ed, you get a virtual TV. It's not a flat screen. Yeah, the swag is the TV that I just sent. Okay, sorry, it's not a flat screen. There's no emoji, but you get a flat, a TV, right? So yeah, it's infinite. You can clone as many as you want. You can clone as many as you want, depending on your use case. Clone as many as you need. Okay, so now the fun part. What is a recipe? Yeah, okay. Okay. So, what is a recipe? You might be wondering now, what is a recipe? I keep hearing Mary say it, but I don't understand the word recipe. Right. Oh my gosh, there's so many words in the screen. I'm going to make it simple. So, when you say recipe, very similar to like a cookbook, it has all of the instructions. Same with Workato. The term recipes is basically the logical steps that will be executed to meet your integration. So many words in the screen, but basically that is it. A recipe is the logical steps that will be executed to meet your integration. So this screenshot here is what we call a recipe, right? So in this screenshot, it has all the steps that is needed to meet their use case or to meet their goal. And the three main ingredients of a recipe is just three things. So the first thing is what we call connections, right? So connections is basically all applications that your recipe will touch. This means if you are going to be using Salesforce or Google Sheets or Slack, you would need to have this connected into your recipe. And we will be creating a connection. So don't worry about it. So that is the first main ingredient out of the three. The second main ingredient in a recipe is what we call a trigger, right? So the trigger is the very first step in your recipe. And a trigger can only be one. And why is that? Because the trigger is basically what your recipe will listen out for, or this is what will tell your recipe to kickstart. Okay, so trigger is what it's listening out for, and it can only be one trigger. So what was the two? The connection and the trigger. So the last main ingredient of a recipe is what we call actions. So an action in your recipe is basically all of the steps that you would want to execute in your recipe. Your actions can be 10, could be 50, it could be 100, no limit. Again, depending on what you are trying to achieve, it will, you would have that many steps. Yeah. So again, trigger is basically the first step of your recipe. A trigger is what your recipe will listen out for. So again, like it's a trigger, right? So your recipe will not start if it does not have a trigger. Okay, for this example in the screenshot, the trigger here is if there is a new or updated opportunity in Salesforce. So every time there is a new record in Salesforce, it will run your recipe. But if there is no record or no new record in Salesforce, it will not trigger your recipe. Okay, does that make sense? Again, trigger is your first step in your recipe, and this is where your recipe will listen out for. This is what it will listen out for. Okay? Don't worry, we'll set up a trigger and you'll understand more about it. Okay, so that is a recipe. What are the three things? Connections, triggers, and actions. All of these three we will set up in our hands-on activity. Okay, so here earlier somebody was asking, so can we only connect to the applications that we have in Workato? If you see here in the screen on the right side, actually we can connect to anything, right? So we are able to connect to applications on the cloud, on-prem, databases, even connector SDK. This means that if the application is not existing in Workato because maybe it is a legacy application, then you can build that connection in Workato. Okay, so besides our thousands of applications, the good thing is you can also build your own. Okay, right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. When we delete one version whose recipe gets deleted, can we delete other older? Okay. I'm gonna keep it as is. Okay. Right. So you can connect to anything, and we have smart connectors, basically pre-built applications in Workato, thousand of it. If you don't have, if you don't not need to build, that's okay because we do have thousands of applications in Workato. Right. And these event based that you see, I will talk more about this in the trigger topic. Okay. These powerful logic, I will also talk more about it in the actions topic. But basically, the only thing you would need to know is this summary here. So again, a recipe is a sequence of instructions handling the flow of data between connected applications. A recipe requires a connection for each application. So that is one out of three. A recipe contains a trigger followed by actions. Okay, so again, trigger, this is when your recipe will be executed. Actions, this is what steps your recipe will perform. Recipe can be created two ways. One way is creating it from scratch. The other way is cloning it from an existing community recipe. Okay. Okay. So now we are in recipe versions. So every time you save a recipe, a version of it is automatically saved. So this means you are able to go to previous versions of a recipe and it can be restored at any time. Okay. The only thing is you are not able to delete a version of that recipe. You're able to restore, right? Restore recipe. You can see who modified it, who changed that recipe. But let's say you want to delete version 9. Yeah, you're not able to delete version 9. You can go back to version 9, right? And restore it if that's what you mean. Okay. So a recipe, it has what we call the recipe URL. If you think it's just copy pasting the recipe URL and sending it to your colleague, that's not how it would work. Okay. So this recipe URL that you are seeing is only applicable to you, right? If you copy and paste this to another workspace, you're not able to make the recipe work. Okay. Right. So there are two ways, or let's say there is two ways to share your recipe, right? So the two ways to share your recipe is if you go to the recipe settings, there is a sharing tab here. And there is what we call a generate link. So this generate link allows people to view your recipe once you send it to them. So when they view your recipe, they're able to clone it as well, but they're not able to make any changes to your recipe. Okay? Again, you're able to share your recipe if you generate the link here, but they are not able to modify your recipe. They're only able to view it and you can revoke that at any time. Okay, so recipes, they are private by default. You can share your recipe in the community library as well, like what I showed you earlier. If you think it would be useful for other people, you can list your recipe in the community library. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. Next, the fun part is the connections. So I know there are questions in the chat. I will answer them. Don't worry. I'm just being mindful of the time. I want to get all the topics covered, and then we do have the live Q&A, which I'll cover it all together. Okay. So next topic is connection. So remember, there are three elements in creating a recipe. It's connections, triggers, and actions. So what we're going to be doing now is I'm going to teach you what is connections, and then we will start creating a connection in your Workato account. Okay, so we're getting there. Okay. Okay. So connections. So when you are trying to connect to other applications inside Workato, it allows you to pick, different authentication options. So we do have basic auth, OAuth 2, API token, custom protocols. For those not if for those that do not have the IT background, it's as simple as username and password. Yeah. Okay, so OAuth is recommended where applicable, and integration user accounts should be used to connect to various applications. So if you are looking at the image on the left and you're wondering, what does this mean? I'll make it very simple. So let's say for app A connector, imagine this is Salesforce, right? For this Salesforce connector, it would have different instances. This means, you could have a Salesforce developer instance, the one that you signed up for, or you could have a Salesforce production instance. Those are the paid ones, right? And because you have different instances, it will still count as one connector. But you might be asking, one connector, why do we have a limit to the connections in a recipe? Well, the answer is no, there is no limit to the number of connections you have in a recipe. Okay. It's just easier for you to switch between different instances if you know that this is existing. Okay. So connection example. These are the different applications. Let's say this is a recipe, right? In your trigger and actions, you are using Salesforce. So you'll be connecting to Salesforce. In your other steps, you have Jira and Slack. So basically, you would need to connect to Jira and Slack as well. So the good thing about this connections is that it is reusable in your other recipes. This means you just need to set it up one time and you can still use it in your other recipes. Okay, right. Fun part. Let's create a connection. Right. So before we create a connection, this is our goal for today. So we are going to create a recipe because John is asked to sync new opportunities in Salesforce to Google Sheets. So how can he achieve this using Workato? Okay. So the use case that we have is when there is new opportunity in Salesforce, we're going to sync it over to our Google Sheets. Okay. So first thing, let's go to your Workato platform. If you are not in the homepage like me, just click on the projects and you'll be directed to your homepage. Okay. So go back to your Pro 1 folder, right? And let's create a connection. So there are multiple ways to create a connection depending where you are. But basically, if you see this green button, you are able to click on it and click create connection, right? So again, what are we doing? We are creating a connection in Salesforce. So this Salesforce is the one that we ask you to set up before the training today. If you do not have the Salesforce connection, Salesforce um, credentials yet, again, sign up right now. It'll just take you less than a minute and you can still join us for our hands-on activity. Okay, so new connection, what are we gonna do? Look for Salesforce. I'm gonna click on the icon, right? And it's now going to ask me to connect to Salesforce. If you look closely, I'm going to zoom, you will see that there are red asterisks. So red asterisk means it is a required field. So for this connection name, we're going to change it. We're going to name it to something meaningful so that later on we can reuse this connection. I'm going to name it as demo Salesforce. So just for me to remember that this is a developer instance. Okay? Right. And what else? So again, a recap, the only thing that I did was change the connection name. I changed it to demo Salesforce. Everything else, you are good to go. There's nothing else you need to change. Now click on the connect button. Okay. Once you click the connect button, it will ask you your username or password in Salesforce. Type it in. I'm going to just click on the username and click login. After this clicking login, another pop-up will show asking you to allow access between Salesforce and Workato. For me, it did not show because I already did that. But that is just a one-time thing. We would just need to click on the allow button. All right. Once you've clicked on the allow, it will show you a connected status, right? And this means you're already good to go. Very easy, right? Super easy. That's basically how you can connect to Workato. Okay, so imagine if you have different applications, just need to do one-time setup and you're already connected, right? You can do automations already with that application. So just gonna check up on everybody. Type in Salesforce connection good. Just making this up right now. And then I can see that you have connected to your Salesforce account already in Workato. Connected to Salesforce connection. Good, good. Okay, great. So I'm just going to wait for a few more if anybody else is following along. Okay. All right. So you've now connected to Salesforce. The other application that we need to connect to is Google Sheets, right? Yeah, great. Okay. So the other one is Google Sheets. So same thing. Go back to your projects, right? Go back to your folder. Click on the create connection. Think you might probably be familiar with it right now. Okay. And we are going to look for the Google Sheet application. Okay. So remember all applications that your recipe touches, we need to connect to. Connection name, if you are using your personal Gmail, type in personal Gmail, right? If you are using your work Gmail, type in work Gmail. So again, a recap for this connection with Google Sheets. The only thing that I did is change the connection name. Next, click on sign in with Google. Same process, choose your account, um, allow access. I need to cancel this one because I already have this connected. I want you to test it out so that you're able to learn what we just did for Salesforce. Okay. Same thing, again, sign in with Google, type in your connection, click on the allow button, and it should show a connection here instead of a disconnected. Good job. Let me know if you've connected to Google Sheets. Yeah, click on done or connected to done. Yeah. So that is one out of the third elements for your recipe. So we're now two more to go. Congratulations in building your connection with Workato. I think more you could agree with me that it's a bit friendly, the navigation. It's not that hard. Okay, right. So for our use case, I did add this Google Sheet, right? I'm going to copy it here. Okay. So what you need to do for the Google Sheets that I've just sent over is you need to have that in your Google Sheet. Basically, you can make a copy of it, right? So it's the same. Wait, hold on, right? So this is what it would look like. Are you able to access the Google Sheets, right? Yep, it will still work. Those connection will still work. Yeah. Anywhere you place this connection in different folders or project, it will work regardless. Yeah. So for this one, click on File, click on Make a Copy. Ensure that this spreadsheet is inside your own drive. Okay. Just place it into My Drive. Yeah. Just place it to My Drive. Okay. So what we're going to be doing is in this spreadsheet, we will be syncing over information here. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Right. Again, what you need to do for this spreadsheet is click on the file, click on make a copy, save it to your drive or my drive. Okay. And all of these columns that you see right now, we're going to be adding rows to this spreadsheet. Okay. So let's start. How do we do that in Workato? How do we create this automation, right? Okay, so the two things you need to understand is triggers and actions, right? So now we're doing a deeper dive into triggers, right? So for triggers, this is the first step in your recipe, the very top, right? So triggers can be classified into different types based on how they check for and retrieve new events. That's a lot to say. So basically, triggers, you have three different events. It could be real time, which means that it is implemented with webhooks. If you don't have an IT background, that's okay. It just means that when a record is created, it will fetch it straight away. There's no waiting time, there's no lagging time. It will just fetch it right away because it's a real time event. For polling, this is, every 5 or every 10 minutes. That is what is happening with the polling trigger. With scheduled, you are able to schedule your trigger every, Monday to Friday, maybe 8 a.m. Maybe that's how you want your recipe to run. And you might be thinking, which one am I going to use? Again, this all depends on your use case. What are you trying to build? What automations are you trying to automate? If you already have it in mind, the business logic, sorry, yeah, you would just need to think about, all these minor details. But if you already know what you're trying to achieve, this, would be easy for you to identify what is needed. Most of the time, real time is the most efficient one. We only go to polling if the API of that application does not support real time, right? Major of polling scheduling, what do you mean? Yeah. So polling, this means that every 5 minutes, your recipe will, trigger. It will fetch records every 5 or every 10 minutes. Scheduled, again, this means you scheduled your recipe to wake up from 8 a.m. every day. Yeah. Okay. So your trigger can be single event or bulk or batch. What does this mean? It means just that you are able to retrieve records one at a time, or you can retrieve records in bulk or batch. If you are creating a ETL, ELT use case, meaning, 1 million records a day, then you can use bulk and batch. Very efficient, right? So trigger events are delivered in the same order as events were created or modified in the app. What this means is we have what we call Workato cursors. This points to the last record processed. So this means if your recipe stops today at 8 p.m. and you start it again tomorrow at 9 a.m., the Workato cursor points to the last record process. So from the time that it was inactive, it will still fetch all of those records when you start your recipe. Okay, so each trigger event is processed only once, therefore there is no duplicates. Of course, you want to have a source of truth in your application or in your database. You don't want to have duplicates. Yeah, I mentioned trigger dispatch and event filtering using conditions. So you're able to add more conditions to your trigger if you do not want to receive all of those records. Okay, right. So yeah, I mentioned trigger conditions. Basically, you are able to define more information in your trigger if you do not want to process all of the records. Okay, so let's go back to your recipe, to your Workato account. Okay, we'll now build a recipe. Okay, so go back to your Pro 1 folder. Where do we click to create something? It's on the right side, create, and click on recipe. Okay, so we're now building your recipe with triggers and actions. So for your name, let's call this Demo 1 Salesforce to Google Sheets. Okay, and then click on Start Building. So recap, what I just did is name my recipe. This would help me reuse this recipe later on or identify it easily because I added a recipe name. Okay, next, just click on Start Building. I did not modify anything else. Okay. And again, say hi to the recipe editor, which I was mentioning earlier. First thing in our trigger, what are we going to do? So remember our hands-on activity, it's syncing Salesforce to Google Sheets. Search for Salesforce, right? And click on the icon. Okay. Next, it will ask me what trigger event should I pick, right? If I scroll down, this is what I was mentioning earlier when we had the trigger topic, right? If you see real time, this label icon, this means all of these events is in a real time. If you see the icon here, batch or the bulk labels, this means this event is for bulk and batch. If there is no label, this means it is a polling trigger event. Okay, polling trigger event is every 5 or every 10 minutes. Okay, so click on new record, right? New record here, the fourth one. You can even search it if you like, right? And next, it's going to ask you what connection are we going to use? Because we already set an active connection, all you need to do is click anywhere here. Just don't click on the details because it will expand. You have to click on the banner somewhere here, right? And then it will take you to the setup. Okay, so if you don't know, you are able to go back a step every time. Just look at this labels on the top. So here it was the connections, here was the triggers, here is the app. So at any time, you can go back and change anything. Okay, so again, we are under setup. Okay, so again, the red asterisk means it is a required, right? So what do we need to set here? We are looking for opportunities. Okay, just look for opportunity, right? Okay, so remember our use case is syncing new opportunities to Google Sheets. So if there is a red asterisk here, you would also see it here at the bottom. When first started, this recipe should pick up events from. What does this mean? This is basically what we call a time machine. Okay, click on an hour ago and select beginning of time. Why? So your Salesforce developer account, it has pre-built values there. So it has existing opportunities already. We do not need to create anything in our Salesforce. Therefore, we are syncing what we call historical data. Okay, so this is why I clicked on beginning of time because I am fetching historical data from Salesforce and gonna sync it over to Google Sheets. And that's it. That's it for your trigger. Recap, the only two things I modified is the object, I set it to opportunity. Time machine, I set it to beginning of time. That's the only two things that I change in my trigger. And click save. So before I move forward, can you type here? Triggers are easy. You are now 2 out of 3 already. You set a connection, you're done with your trigger, and now we'll be creating actions after this. But let me see first if you are set with your triggers. Yeah, see, you guys got this. I feel that you're gonna ace. You're gonna get 15 out of 15 for your for your exam. All right. So that was for your triggers. Next is actions. So actions can be simple actions. It could be control flow statements that help you describe your business logic. So again, what are actions? Basically, this tells what work does your recipe do. It could maybe create a record, it could read a record, it could update a record, it could delete a record, it could search a record. For the control, you could have conditions, you can have loops, right? You could have error monitor, which is similar to a try catch, right? You could stop your recipe and you can even call another recipe. Pretty cool. For your data dispatch, it could also be single, it could also be batch or bulk. For data mapping, you could have formulas, you can do data transformation, data manipulation. That's what you can do as well. And you can do lookups, right? So actions vary by connectors. If your let's say for Salesforce, you see here that there's a publish platform event. But if you are using another application, but you don't see this, basically, whatever your application can do, you can do that as well in Workato. Okay. If somehow you do not see the action that you wanted to do for that certain application, but it's existing in their API, every application here in Workato has what we call custom action. So these custom actions, you can create your own HTTP call based on their API. Okay. So again, if you do not see your actions here and you want to use it, you can create your own custom actions using HTTP call. You do not need to recreate the connection, just create the HTTP call. Okay. The object should be opportunity. Yeah, just opportunity. All right. Built-in utility actions. You might be thinking, is it only applications that you have, like Salesforce? The answer is no, we do have utility actions. You can even run your JavaScript, your Ruby. Actually, we even have Python code that you can do in Workato. You can even, have a CSV by Workato. You can parse documents. You can have a lookup table. You can use email. You can have SMS by Workato. So these are utility actions in Workato. Right. So exciting part, the third element is actions. Go to your recipe. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Okay, so for those that is still doing the trigger, I'll do a recap. The object is opportunity, and the time machine here, when first started, is beginning of time. What I'm gonna do is take a screenshot of this, send it in chat so you can see, what needs to be modified. Okay, let's now create an action. So click on the plus sign here in your in your layout panel. Click on plus sign, and it tells you what happens next. Because we are creating a very simple recipe, click on action in an app, the very first icon that you see. Right. Next, you would see it's asking you for an application. So remember, our use case is Salesforce to Google Sheets. Search for Google Sheets. Okay, and click on the Google Sheet icon. Right. Next, what event are we gonna use? Right? Basically, we are just syncing um, rows in Google Sheets. So just click on add row, right? Add row, not add rows in bulk. It's just add row polling event. Okay, because these are just single events. Next, choose your active connection. Okay, I think I need mine personal Gmail. If you're still in the process of creating a connection, that's okay. You have this, new connection. You can create your connection off the fly when you are creating a recipe. That's another way to create your connection. For us, those who created the connection a while back, just click on it again and you're back to set up. Okay. So, yeah, sorry. So I'm going to switch wrong connection, my bad. Okay. So what are we gonna modify this? So for Google Drive, it should be My Drive. For spreadsheet, go back to your spreadsheet, right? And look at the name of the spreadsheet that you are using. So for me, it's Salesforce Opportunities Demo with a date. So that is what you need to search under your spreadsheet. Salesforce, sorry, my bad. Salesforce Opportunities Demo with a date. Okay. So if you're unsure of your spreadsheet name, just go back to your Google Sheet, look at the title here, and that is what you need to search under spreadsheet. Okay. Next, under sheet, click on, oh, sorry. See, I'm not listening. Should be Salesforce Opportunities Demo Training. Yeah. Demo, opportunities, demo. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think it's this one actually. It's gonna click save. Okay. Next, what sheet? Click on sheet one. Basically, this is the sheet one tab that is under your spreadsheet. Okay. So I'm gonna screenshot this. I'm gonna send it here for you to follow along for your actions. We're almost there. I guess, we are 70% there. We're just gonna modify our action and we're gonna test it and we're gonna run it, right? So that's almost there. 43 more minutes. Just bear with me. Okay. Once you've selected the sheet, you would actually see if you scroll down, Workato automatically introspects the columns that you have in your spreadsheet. So all of these things here is actually derived from your Workato, sorry, your Google Sheet. This is it, right? Okay, sorry. I zoomed in too much. Okay. Okay, there you go. Okay. So these columns here is your Google Sheet columns. So if you change the name in your Google Sheets, refresh this, it will be syncing here as well. Okay. So the next question is, how do we sync information into these columns, right? How do we add information to these columns? We've made it so far to show the column names here, but how do we add the rows? How do we sync it? So Workato has what we call recipe data. If you click on any of the fields here, right, you would see that this recipe data has expanded. Okay. If you have information overload, don't worry. It will sync. It will sync in your mind, okay? Promise you we are almost done. Okay. So here, opportunity name, if you select any fields here, this recipe data box has expanded. This recipe data box, basically, this is a placeholder for all the information from your previous steps, right? So here you would see, what this is what we call data pills. And basically, you can map these data pills into your columns here. Yeah. So if you have your sheet, some folder, you can basically click on this and look at it in your folder. Yeah. If your folder is inside your drive, my drive, um, that's okay. You just need to click my drive and look for the spreadsheet name. Okay. Okay. So where were we? Um, yeah. How do we map data into our fields here? Okay. So the fun part is we have what we call data pills. This is data pills. All of these are selectable. So click on the field here, opportunity name. You would see that there is a data pill recommended for you. To make it easy, just select on the name data pill, right? And this is a very simple mapping of data into your column. So again, this square thing, this is what we call a data pill. It is a placeholder for that information that is going to pass through the name. So again, this is a dynamic value, right? Because you would have different opportunity names coming along. Okay, so next is description, right? I want you to click on the name again, right? Why? Because sometimes the opportunity description is empty, therefore, we're not able to play around with it. But for opportunity description, I want you to do this. You type dash demo, right? This allows you to have a dynamic and a static value. Okay, so this means that I'm not only able to map in dynamic value, I'm also able to add in a static text, right? So you're now understanding how we can transform data before moving it to your downstream application. Okay, so the next is opportunity type. Okay, click on the field again, select the opportunity type here. For this one, I want to make it more interesting. I would only want to get the first letter of the opportunity type. Okay, so how do we do that? So if you see here, I zoomed it too much again. Okay, if you see here, oh, I'm not able to do that. If you see it here, all the fields has actually what we call the text and formula mode. Click on the formula mode and it will darken. Automatically, you would have this syntax of formulas, right? Depending on what data type this is, it will provide you recommendation of formulas. And if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not an IT, I don't know what formulas I'm going to use, no worries. Workato made it very easy for you by providing you a recommendation of formulas already. Okay. So again, I'm trying to fetch only the first letter. So our formula would be dot slice, right? And open bracket 0, comma 1. What am I trying to do? This dot slice, it gives you the syntax already. It shows you what we need to put. So 0 is the starting index, right? Meaning the very beginning letter. How many letters would you want to retrieve is the length. So it's 0, comma 1. Okay. If you don't know what the dot slice means, it's okay. It means getting part of a string. It also shows you example of what's going to happen. Okay. So why am I doing this? Basically, I want to show you how you can do data transformation before syncing to your downstream application. Okay. Next is close date. Click on close date and click on amount. Right. So a recap, what we did, selected the spreadsheet name. If you scroll down, selected sheet 1, and I mapped in all of these columns here. What I'm going to do is going to screenshot this if anybody else wants to follow. Okay, and I'm going to send it there. So I'm going to wait here and see if you guys are done. Can you type in Um, sorry, actions are easy. Type in actions are easy. Then I know that you guys are done with the actions. Guys are very fast. Actions are easy. Very good. Right. Honestly, for me, I feel recipes, creating this automation, it's very easy. You already know what is a connection, you know what is a trigger, and you know what is an action. Okay. So before we test this, I must go through this slide. Don't test it yet. Okay. So there are different data types in Workato. Could be string, integer, number, date, date time, boolean, and array. All of this will show you different symbols in your recipe, right? This one, right? ABC, or here, date time. So all of these things means something, okay? So those are data types. So formula, common example, basically what this is saying that it's not only simple formula that you can do, you can add up, you can combine different formulas together, again depending on your use case or what you're trying to achieve. As long as your syntax is correct, you can add up to 10 formulas altogether. Yeah, yeah, that's also possible. If you want to read more about formulas, you can go to our documentation page. We're able to return a Boolean value. You're able to do data type conversion, um, yeah, etc. You can go through our documentation page. Okay, fun part, testing and running recipes. I know you're excited to see how this will turn out. Okay, before we test, I want you to know the difference between testing and running a recipe. So testing a recipe, when you click on the test job, don't do it yet, is basically just getting one record and your recipe will stop. This one record will let you know if all of the recipe details is correct. Of course, you do not want to run your data in the first try because you're not sure if everything you've mapped it into is correct. Therefore, the test job allows you to see if everything is good. Okay? If you feel everything is good, you have a successful job status after testing, you're now able to start your recipe. Now, when you start a recipe, it will continue to start until you tell it to stop. If you started today on October 19 and you come back to it next year, January 15 or maybe May 15, it would still be running, okay? Unless you tell it to stop. So when you stop a recipe, you will make it inactive, meaning it will not look for records. It will stop picking up trigger events. Nothing. It will not do anything. Okay, so let's go to our recipe and do the test recipe. So excited. I'm going to zoom in, right? And click on the test recipe button on the top. All right. So what it's going to do now is check for new trigger events. And basically because we have default values in our Salesforce for opportunities, it fetched a record. Right. So here, this is a test job. Click on trigger, click on action. It will give you all the information associated to that record. So if I go to my step 2, click on step input, right? And expand data here on the right. It will tell me what opportunity was synced over. So here, it says United Oil plant standby. Yours could be different. That's okay. Important thing is you see this different information, right? Remember the description? We added a dash demo. So this is the output. The type, we did a formula mode. Congratulations. We did dot slice. Yeah. And close date and amount. So this is what should have synced over in your Google Sheets. Go to your Google Sheets. Without refreshing, it should already be there, right? So for Raghu, I think what you did was not set the time machine to beginning of time. Yeah. So I'm gonna go to my recipe, click here, go to my trigger. You have to make sure that your time machine here, it's set to beginning of time. Double check it. If it's not, we have to change it. But you have to clone your recipe in order to change it. Okay? Is it correct? Do you have, is it not beginning of time? Okay. So let's now start your recipe. But before we do that, what are jobs? What are job reports? Okay. Click on exit this recipe editor. It will take you to the recipe homepage. This recipe homepage gives you all the different features that I showed you earlier. We have the versions, we have the settings. This is where you're able to share your recipe. You're able to list it or publish it into the community library. You're able to generate link. So this is where you can find those information in. Okay, so go to the jobs tab. So jobs tab is your friend. Jobs tab will show you all the records that this recipe has fetched. It's a great way to see, if all the information has been synced correctly or if there are missing records, right? Um, Before we start our recipe, we have to modify our job report table. And it's the first thing that you would need to do before starting your recipe. Okay. This is what we call the job report table. For every record that your recipe fetches, it will be added here. It will append here. And this row, you are able to click on it. You're able to see your recipe, what has happened through it. And again, this is a great way to see what has happened in your recipe. Shoot. Let me go back to jobs. Okay. And this is a table. If you're not sure, this is actually a table, job report table. And at a glance, under description, it doesn't really make sense, right? You have this string, Salesforce, blah, 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 blah. Not, not useful. I don't understand it. What you need to do is click on the three dotted icon, click on customize job table, and we're gonna make it a more meaningful job report table. Remember, doing this, you should actually do this for every recipe that you have. Okay. Okay. So for the test case, this is again what we tested earlier. It's actually, real information from your application. This is not like a dummy record. These are still existing records in your Salesforce account. The reason why it's called a test is that it just fetched one record and it stopped your recipe. This ensures that everything is working correctly. If you see that something is not mapped correctly, then great, you are able to modify it before you start your recipe. Okay. So for this case, we have here, they couldn't find the trigger event doing the test case, which is good because you're now able to see what went wrong, what you're able to modify before starting your recipe. Okay. Again, test case, this test job, these are still real information from your application. It's just called a test because we got the first record, tested it, and then stopped your recipe. See, the test one, it's still counted as a successful job. So you see here one. Okay, shoot, where was I? Okay, job report table. Okay, go back to jobs. Let's customize the job report table. Okay, why? Again, we'll do the job report table so it will make sense why we need to do it. Click on the three dotted icon, click on the customize job table. Okay, and now let's modify the job report table to make it more meaningful. So here I would want to show the opportunity name, type it name, column value, not under step 2 output. You have to go to step 1 output in Salesforce and look for the name. Okay, and enter. Okay, just click, keep on entering until you see it highlighted. Drag and drop this data pill in the column value, right? And add a new column. We'll add in amount. Again, search field, look for amount. Drag and drop in the data pill amount. What I'm going to do, screenshot this, send it in the Zoom chat. Okay, right. So what I did now is trying to modify my job report table so that when we fetch records in a bit, you'll see that it's displayed more understandable. Okay. Click on apply changes. Oops, there. And there you go. So now my job report table has these two columns called name and amount, but it has nothing inside. So now click on start recipe and wait for everything to sync in your job report table. Right. So mine is starting, right? Depending on how fast your internet, apologies because mine is not fast. It should already be orange. You should already have records synced over. I'm gonna refresh this. My internet is bad, honestly. Yeah, it is bad. So yours should already have recipes. Okay, let me start this again. Yours should already be starting, right? You should see, yeah. So you should see jobs already pulling into your job reports, right? Yeah, see, like this. Right. And now it makes more sense, right? In your job report table. It's easier to identify which records has been synced over. What column you need is there. Opportunity name, it's there. Easier to identify. If let's say you're looking for a record, go through the opportunity name, search it in jobs, and there you'll already see it. Okay, so this means that I have now 29 records that's synced over. I have 3 failed jobs, etc. So what you need to do, go to your Google Sheets without refreshing. All of the records should be here already. So congratulations in your automation. This is the first recipe. If this is the first recipe you've built, congratulations. Again, if you're wondering where did all of this information come from, remember the Salesforce developer account has pre-built opportunities there. That is what we're trying to sync. And that's why even if you don't know Salesforce, it's okay because there are default values there. So all of this, imagine not having to switch between applications. You already have your automation running. You can add more to this, recipe. This is just a very simple recipe for you to test out, but ultimately you would have different, use cases. Maybe you would want to send an email. Maybe you would want to have a Google Calendar. Maybe you would have to create a ticket for each opportunity in Jira, right? Possible, again, depending on your business use case. Okay. So I want to congratulate you first because you've created your first recipe. You deserve a clap. And let's go back to my slide deck. So jobs and job report, basically, when it is active, you will then get records for your job and job report table. Okay. So job report table is all the records that has been processed. Okay. Oops. Right. So quick question, right? Can you customize your job report table when the recipe is running or active? This is a yes or no question. Okay. Okay. The prize is a brand new Tesla. I'm gonna call it Tesla. So I have multiple people saying different answers. The correct answer is, I think, Krishna, you got it right. It's no. You have to stop the recipe first in order to edit the job report table. You win a Tesla, a blue Tesla. Okay. So how does that work? Go back to your recipe. If you go back to jobs, you would still see the three dotted icon. However, if you click view column configuration, there's no save. There's nothing, right? So you would need to stop the recipe first and then edit the job report table. All right. So before we do something else, I would like to mention that we do have different support in Workato. So you have the documentation page, the support page, and of course, our 24/7 chat support. So this 24/7 chat support, it's very useful for your automation journey. You get to talk to real people in Workato and they respond in less than 5 minutes. If you're wondering where do I find that, hold on. Go to your resource hub here, click on resource hub. Sorry, my laptop is not showing. Okay. And click chat with us in the bottom. Click on chat with us. Yeah. And then you'll get to see the 24/7 chat support. You're able to ask questions if you encounter any errors. Let's say, hey, I get field name empty, or maybe my recipe is not working correctly. You can always talk to our chat support. And this is not chat GPT, by the way. This is real people with, expertise helping you out. Okay. So that is for the support and survey. Before we close this thing and do your Automation Pro 1 exam and do your Q&A, let's do a quick survey. You can scan this QR code. What I'm going to do is grab the form. Do you have, okay. Do you have another link?
Yes,
Yes,
yes, it's
or,
it's added to the slide. Maybe you can just refresh and it will pop up.
okay. Same,
Right.
right? Okay, I'm going to just refresh. Okay. So don't go yet because you still have your Automation Pro 1 exam. And not gonna lie, in this training, I'm able to reset your exams. So don't go. Okay. Um, is this the one in Canva? Workato Canva? Hmm. I reset it. Yeah. So is this the forms,
See,
the one that I see?
yes, yes.
Okay,
The one that you're
perfect.
highlighting is the same. The QR code is also different.
All right. So this is the survey link. Just, you know, we would love to make improvements in Workato. So your your voice is important to us. Let us know how we can improve, how, what's the thing you like here. Basically, yeah. So that's a survey and Automation Pro 1 exam. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send the link for Automation Pro 1 exam. You are free to take it right now or after the live Q&A session. Basically, we are here while you take your Automation Pro 1 exam and you get 2 attempts to take it. It's 15 multiple choice questions and you need to get 11 correct. Okay? Again, if you need more, just DM me or PM me here in Zoom chat privately. No shame. I won't take it against you. Just PM me and tell me I need more attempts, and I'll be happy to give you more. Okay, 15 multiple choice. It's an open book. Okay, so if you are taking the Pro 1 exam, great, we're still here. What I'm gonna do is start answering questions that I haven't answered in the chat. So
Right.
you're free to just stay on, make me as a white noise while I answer your Q&A. Okay?
Right. Good. So, Mary, I've just collected few of the questions. I'll,
Mm.
just pop the questions and you can respond to them. So one of the
Okay.
question is, how do we transfer data from one environment to another environment?
Nice. That's a great question. So we do have what we call recipe lifecycle management in Workato. So if I go here, okay, if I go to my tools, we have here called recipe lifecycle management. This basically helps you to export your recipes along with all the different assets and and basically import them to your other workspaces or environments. That's how easy it is. And if you're thinking, what if I export the same things twice, import it again twice? Workato has the feature to see what has changed between your imports, right? It will not import duplicate copies. It will import only what has changed in that specific version. Okay. So let's see. Quickly, I'm just gonna show you an example. Let's see if this is still working. Yeah. So if you are thinking of importing and exporting recipes to different accounts, all of the assets for that recipe, including the connections, any lookup tables, any tools that you've used, it will also be exported. Okay, even the connections that are using, it will also be exported. Okay, here, see, your manifest contains one connection, one recipe, etc. So that is how cool Workato can provide you if you are moving recipes to one place to another. Yeah,
Right.
that's
Cool.
it. Right.
Right. The other question here which says, um, how can you edit the trigger to change some parameter post running the recipe?
Sorry again. How do I change the trigger?
Yes. How is there a possibility where we can change the parameter of the trigger if I have already run the recipe once or twice?
Great, great question. So the thing about trigger is once you have run your recipe, you're not able to change your trigger event. Okay, so let's see for this one, I'm gonna stop my recipe. I'm gonna click on the edit recipe once it's loaded, and you will see that the trigger here is uneditable. Right, see. Right. So here, actually here, the time machine is uneditable. So there's a disclaimer here. Once the recipe has been run or tested, this value cannot change. So this time machine cannot change. However, for objects, you're able to change it. If you want to change your time machine, what you need to do is exit and clone this recipe. And from there, you're able to change your trigger time machine. Okay. So I click on edit. Okay. So it's like getting a new version of the recipe. Okay. You're now able to change the time machine. Again, if you've started your recipe, the time machine can never be changed. However, you can change, conditions, you can change objects, etc. You can change connections as well. But this time machine, you're unable to change it anymore. Okay. I hope that answers your question.
Right. There's another question which says, if we do not delete the older version of the recipe which is no longer needed, does it occupy space on the platform?
Does it occupy space on the platform? Okay, let's go to my recipe. Let's go to versions. If I do not delete a version of my recipe, actually you cannot delete a version. It will be there as a log. So you're able to see, what happened during all of these changes. You're unable to delete it. And it will not occupy that big of an amount of information, or it will not take up that space, not that too much space, but you cannot delete a version of this recipe.
Right. So
Yeah.
adding on to that question, you know, which I assume the answer is yes, but I'll still, I'll leave it to you to answer. The question is, can we roll back to a previous version and then again come to a new version and run the recipe?
Can we okay.
So if,
So
for
this
example, we have 5 version of the recipes,
yeah.
and then I want to start the third version, and
Mhm.
once done, I'm again want to go ahead and start the fifth version of the recipe.
So if you want to have the two different versions, what you can do is clone the recipe, the final recipe, and then if you would want to restore the, let's say, restore version 3, then you can basically restore it. Clone the version, the original version that has the, version 7, start that recipe, and then by using the other clone and restoring it from the previous time, you can have, two versions of the recipe. And but my question is, why would you need to do that? Why would you need to have like two different recipes running in different versions? Yeah.
Right, right.
So you have to think of the use case, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess more or less we have answered all the questions. Few of the questions were answered live. If guys, if you still have any questions, you know, you can unmute yourself if you want, and you can directly speak to Mary and me.
Yeah.
And till that time, we have already sent the link of the certification, on the Zoom chat. Mary has sent it. I have also sent it. Click on that link and start appearing for your certification. Right. Once you're done, once you're cleared, do update us on the chat box so that we get a count of how many people have got certified. Done. So it says
Done.
Ed has already cleared.
Are you, what was your score? You passed? Congratulations. Oh my gosh, you guys are fast. I was like just talking like all the way here and you guys are already done. Congrats.
I,
Oh my gosh. You guys are great. You guys are a great audience. If you have any more questions for me, I'll be here maybe, 9 more minutes or 5 more minutes. Congratulations. Share your credentials, please, in LinkedIn. You're able to do that if you go to your account. Hold on, I'm going to show you how to do that. And tag us, tag me and Yaz. We'll be there to celebrate with you. So to share your credentials, click on your profile if you're in under academy.workato.com profile, and you would see here the add to profile in LinkedIn. Okay, when you add to profile, share it with us, tag us. My name, same name in LinkedIn with Niaz as well. And, we will add you to our community in Workato. 93%. Good job. Congratulations. You guys are good listeners. Can we take the exam post this call? Yes, you're able to do that. There is no time limit for the exam. Again, it's an open book. However, the pro of taking it right now is that I'm able to reset your exam attempts if you need more. Post call, I won't be able to do that. Yeah. So suggest take it now if you want. So you have 8 minutes. No pressure, but you have 8 minutes. Yeah. And again, guys, thank you for attending the call. Thank you, Niaz, for helping support our very first pilot run. Um, Hopefully we would have Pro 2 session. Pro 3 is not that, I think, not that clear in the future because it is a very extensive training.
yep.
You do need like 5 days actually to complete Pro 3. Pro 2, same is like 2 hours, similar to Pro 1. So we might have that in the future. Watch out, right? Yeah. API platform in Pro 3, yes, it is in Pro 3. That's why it's extensive, very extensive training. Yeah. But
Right.
yeah,
And it's exciting to see, Mary, people are showing a lot of interest for the future sessions, for example, API platforms and other topics. So, and as Mary said, of course, this is, the very first cert prep session that we have done. And hopefully we'll, do more of the cert prep sessions, Pro 2 and so on. So be engaged in the community because of course the systematic community is the only place where all the informations, all the events are hosted. Of course we do post it on social media and other platforms, and on the systematic platform we do also have created a user group for you. So make sure you go ahead and join your user group. Mary, just for can I share my screen over here?
sure. Let me stop first.
Yep, thank you. Right. Right. So as you can see here in the systematic page, on the navigation bar, we do have a regional user group created. And depending upon the area that you are, most of us are here from the Asia region. So under Asia, we have the Bangalore group, Pune, Mumbai, and Hyderabad group. So of course, we will go ahead and launch more user group. So if you are from a city and your city is not listed here, please do contact me, and we can, get things done for your city. Apart from that, we also have Workato on campuses, which is especially for students. So we do want the students to be a part of the community. And as I was speaking, the mentorship program. So we want you guys to go put some efforts on the community side, wherein you can, men- start mentoring, anyone who is new to the platform, or someone who has eager to learn what Workato is, but he or she does not have resources. So you can be those mentors. Next year, down the line, we would officially launch the mentorship and the set program, and you can be a part of it, and you can earn the Workato mentorship badge, after participating or mentoring, a few of the sessions for the Workato community. There are multiple ways you can be a part of the community. One way is we have few of our members here who have already started, uploading for videos on YouTube channels, stating what, why, and how of Workato. That's one of the ways you can contribute to the community. And in terms of education, what we personally want you to is, we will invite you as a guest speaker to the universities and colleges, where you can drive the technical sessions for Workato from the Workato side, and you will be the lead speaker for the sessions in the colleges, right? So a lot of activities are available. All we want you to is be engaged, use the platform, as Mary said, follow the network of the integration of Workato on LinkedIn very strongly, because that will help you to grow your network, and you will be able to meet like-minded peoples, in the integration space, right? So I do see a lot of people have completed the examination, and I bet few people are still completing it. So make sure you go ahead, complete the Pro 1 certification. And the Pro 1 certification, to be honest, was on demand, because there were a lot of people who were interested to understand what Pro 1 is, who they wanted to get certified on Pro 1. And I see the same demand is also coming for Pro 2 and the subsequent series. So sure, we'll launch the Pro 2 certification and the other set of series. Be active on the platform, because that is the only place where you will go ahead and see those details that we are posting ahead. Clear? And of course, you know let's give a huge thanks to Mary. It's almost night for her at this time, and she has always been a great speaker. She has presented in multiple sessions across the globe, and for India it's her first time. And of course, thank you all to be very attentive and patiently listening to her. And I see all of you have got certified, and a huge kudos to that goes to Mary. Thank you, Mary, for it.
Oh, thank you, Niaz. This audience, I'm very fun to actually teach. You guys are very attentive. You're also, how do you say, interactive, right? And
Right.
again, congratulations for those who passed today. Hoping to see you get your Pro 2 certification. If I have not answered your question, we'll reach out to you at the end. I do see other people, asking about pricing model. This, I don't know if Niaz want to share or answer it right now, but definitely we can reach out to you separately on this one, if you're interested. Yeah. And
Right.
again, it's Thursday here. One more day, it's the weekend. So advance happy weekend to everybody. I'm gonna pass it on to Niaz. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mary. And thank you all for joining. If you have any questions, do let us know. If not, then we can wind up this session. And
Mm-hmm.
in order for you to look back on the recordings, so since you've recorded it, we will post it on the systematic tool again. So just let me show you where it will be available, so that you can also go ahead and let your colleagues know that this is where the recording is. So on the lounge section, you see there is an event over here, and all the events that we have will get posted here. So as you see, this event is in progress. Of course, that's the current status. So over here in the bottom, I'll add the link to the session, and you can always come back to this place and watch the recording whenever it's needed. So it will be here. It's not going to go anywhere. Just make sure you're on the correct page and you start looking at the recording section whenever you need it. Right? Okay. Thank you so much,
All
everyone,
right.
and let's meet soon. Right?
All right. Thank you guys.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Have a
Thank you
happy
so much,
weekend.
Mary.
Oh,
Bye bye. Take
bye.
care, guys.